It's an image that has haunted me since I first saw it on Tuesday. 7 tiny Syrian children lying together in a heap, their faces staring into space with their eyes wide open. We're horribly used to seeing young victims of this devastating war battered and bloodied from bombs. But these kids didn't have a mark on them. They looked frozen in time. Yet they were all dead, their poor little lives deliberately snuffed out by sarin, one of the deadliest chemical weapons on the planet. The lethal liquid was dropped on them in bombs deposited from Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad's planes. It's important to understand the scale and nature of what happened here. Sarin is a man-made nerve agent 26 times more deadly than cyanide. It was developed in 1938 by German scientists as they attempted to create stronger pesticides. The formula was swiftly passed to the military, who discovered it had such a horrendous impact on the human body it could become a weapon of mass destruction. Yet the effects were so appalling that even the Nazis reportedly held off using it on the battlefields during World War II, fearing massive retaliation. Imagine that for a moment? This was considered too heinous an instrument of death even for Hitler to deploy against Allied forces. Sarin is a liquid that evaporates quickly into colorless gas with no smell or taste, so there is no prior warning when it attacks. It just absorbs into the skin of its victims, permeating the membranes and lungs. Once inside, it goes to hideous work, breaking down the nervous system so vital organs all start to lose control. Your eyes water uncontrollably, you spew saliva and vomit, your bowels evacuate, your vision fails, your breathing collapses, your chest explodes with pain. Then your whole body violently convulses and you become completely paralyzed. If you're lucky, you die within 10 minutes. If you're not, it can take a lot longer. Or, perhaps even worse, you survive but with dreadful brain damage. This is what those Syrian children went through before they died. The photograph made me cry. Who wouldn't cry at such an unbearable scene, knowing what they had endured in their last moments of precious life? My daughter is 5, around the same age as these stricken kids. Like any parent, I literally can't think of anything worse. I tweeted the picture with the caption, "No, don't look away. These are dead children." Gassed by Assad. He'll keep doing this until someone stops him. WHO will stop him? I was instantly met with a storm of outrage. How dare I post such an offensive picture? Didn't I think of the children's parents? How do I know it was Assad? What was I trying to do, start World War III? And so, predictably on. It turned out I wasn't the only one to feel as incensed by those images. President Donald Trump, watching on television at the White House, felt the same raging torrent of fury and despair. He's a loving father of 5. I've seen at first hand what a devoted dad he is to his children. Like me, and any parent, he'd have thought of his own dying like that. And like me, he'd have thought, who is going to stop this? The answer came last night. Trump ordered a ferocious attack on the Syrian airbase from which the sarin-armed planes took off. A total of 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles thundered in from 2 U.S. battleships, wiping out everything that was there. It was a targeted, precise and highly effective attack. It was also entirely justified. Spare me all the Weasley words of dismay this morning at this U.S. military action. It wasn't just warranted, it was imperative. I say that as someone who campaigned vociferously to stop the disastrous war in Iraq, which was waged on the entirely false pretext of Saddam Hussein having WMD, and as revenge for the 9/11 attacks that had nothing to do with him. The crucial difference here is that Assad hasn't just got WM, he indisputably just used them on his people. The U.S. tracked his planes on radar from their departure to their delivery of sarin-laced bombs. They saw it all happen in real time. And Assad is a repeat offender. In 2013, he unleashed sarin rockets on rebels in Ghouta, near Damascus, killing 1,729 people. That incident crossed a red line that President Barack Obama had publicly drawn in the sand just a year before. We've been very clear to the Assad regime that a red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized, Obama said in August 2012. That would change my calculus. That would change my equation. His then Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, agreed, saying, "Everyone has made it clear to the Syrian regime that chemical weapons use is a red line for the world." But when Assad duly crossed that red line, nothing happened. Obama blinked. America blinked. The world's greatest military power let him get away with it. So what did Assad do? He did what all bullies do when they get away with doing something despicable. He did it again. President Trump's reaction to this new attack was similar to Obama's. "It crossed a lot of lines," he said. "When you kill innocent children, babies, with chemical gas, that goes beyond red lines." He added, "These heinous acts by the Assad regime cannot be tolerated. My attitude towards Syria and Assad has changed very much." But unlike Obama, Trump carried through on his threat. Trump has been heavily criticized for his inconsistency over Syria. He urged Obama not to respond after the Ghouta incident. "If you do, many very bad things will happen," Trump tweeted, "and from that fight the U.S. gets nothing." It could also be argued that Trump's administration has previously sent benign signals to the Assad regime that may have emboldened them to commit this atrocity. And it's completely incongruous to me that Trump has wrongly tried to ban all Syrian refugees, including children like this, from the U.S. Although he would argue, with not entirely unreasonable logic, that protecting America from potential terror attacks, as he sees his travel ban, and protecting children from chemical weapons massacres in another country are two very different issues. So, yes, Trump appears hypocritical in his shifting stance on Syria. But as he explained when asked about it, "I do change, and I am flexible. The attack on children yesterday had a big impact on me. I don't mind leaders changing their minds, so long as the decisions they eventually take are the right ones." Whether you love or loathe Trump, this was the right decision. Assad is a nasty bully dictator who has slaughtered 400,000 of his own people. I called for America, and allies including Britain, to go after him after Ghouta. At that time, it might still have been possible to support the rebels and overthrow Assad. But Britain bottled it, and so did America. Now, the landscape is very different. Russian President Vladimir Putin intervened on the side of Assad, and the rebels have been heavily infiltrated by ISIS and al-Qaeda terrorists. The only way this war now ends is for Assad to stay in power and finish it, however much this sticks in the claw of any right-minded person. Then he must be removed, and held to account for his despicable war crimes. And the Syrian people must be enabled to decide their own future and their own new leader. But what President Trump did last night sent a firm, powerful warning to Assad and Putin, that use of chemical weapons to finish this war crosses a line America really won't tolerate.